Hello children, once again it's Samir sir here. Welcome you all. So in today's session, this is our second session of the same chapter, the best advice I ever had. So before we start the next paragraph, let me revise you a little bit of the things that what we have discussed in previous few paragraphs. So as you children know that the journey of Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Pandit was started in very struggle, in very pain. So in middle stage, certain kind of circumstances were happens with her, where she decided to go away from all the situations or to run away from all the situations. Situation seems those problems which she has facing in her life, like not giving a share in her family property. She was thinking that her family members were taking the advantages of a situation. These kind of a certain problems were there. So at that time she decided to run away. It seems she wanted to go to the America, but there is a only personality who was there, Mr. Mahatma Gandhiji. She wanted to meet him before going to America. But when she went to meet Mahatma Gandhiji, they had a conversation. In that conversation, Mahatma Gandhiji advised her that no one can harm you except of yourself. So today we have to start it from the paragraph 11. So what Vijayalakshmi Pandit tells us that how was her journey in America and or how was her journey before she going to America. So we'll see from the paragraph 11. I'll read it loudly. Look at in this children. This small gesture was beginning of a new significant change in me. A year and a half later, I was in New York as a leader of Indian delegation to United Nations. Important to us was India's complaint regarding the treatment of people of Indian origin in South Africa. Harsh things were said by both the sides. I resented the manner in which opponents made personal attack harmful to India's prestige to mine. I struck back with the same sharp weapon. So Vijayalakshmi started telling that now she reached to the New York and she went to a seminar. So she tells that this small gesture was the beginning of a significant change in me. So it means that how she was before in India, when she was here in India, she was something else. But when she went to the New York, she became something else. It means a sudden change came in her attitude. Before going to New York, she was little bit disappointed. She was little bit nervous. A sort of a pain was there in her heart. But when she met to her family members, when she made a peace with her relatives, she became a confident. She became a very clear towards her thought that why she is going to New York or the why she wanted to go to America. That mindset was totally clear, and now she's going to be performed really well in for the purpose why she's going to America. She says that a year and a half later I was in New York. Was she said that after a year and a half later she was in New York as a leader of Indian delegation to United Nations. She represented India in New York as a leader of delegation to the United Nations. Important to us was India's complaint regarding the treatment of a people of Indian origin in South Africa, and she was delivering her speech or she was contributing into that delegation regarding the how Indian peoples were treated in South Africa. The South African peoples were not treating properly with the Indian origin peoples. People, children, there were some kind of a connections were there in several countries that African peoples were coming to India, Indian peoples were going to Africa. These are the intonation change was there. The peoples were coming from the other countries also, and Indian peoples were also going to the other countries also. So when she was in New York, so some of the Indian origin people means the people who literally belongs to India, but at that time they were in Africa. So, on behalf of them, she was talking over there that how African peoples were treating with the Indian peoples. She tells that harsh things were said by both the sides. Harsh things were said by the both the things. It means that African peoples were also there, and she was a representative of India. So when some African people said a bad words about India, so she has also answered them in their own way. If those African peoples talk to her in a polite manner, she will also definitely answer them in a polite manner. But African peoples were used some harsh words to describe the situation of India. So in that anguish moment, Vijayalakshmi Pandit also answered them in that same manner. And she said that I resented the manner in which my opponents made personal attack harmful to India's prestige and to mine also. She said that I was in a very calm mood, I was in a very quiet mood, but the words of her opponents made her little bit like them. She is ready to answer them very calm, very quietly, but the manners and the attitude of the opponents made Vijayalakshmi Pandit very angry, and she also started attacking them personally, that how they were attacking to her, because she thought that if those people or if anybody who was available there who tells something bad about India, it is like telling bad to Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Pandit. So she is barely courageously answered them in their own way. So she tells that I stuck back with the same sharp weapon. So she said that the words which were used by the African or the other delegation peoples, she also answered them in a same. Now in 12th paragraph, then after a distressing deal of words, I suddenly thought of Gandhiji. So while having a discussion or while having the delegations all over there, so she thought about the Gandhiji. And the words of Gandhiji's, ideas of Gandhiji's will suddenly came in her mind, and she thought that I suddenly thought of Gandhiji. Would he approve to him a means were as important as the end in the long run? Perhaps more important, what if we succeeded in getting a resolution passed by the questionable tactics that injured our self-respect? So she said that keeping a self-respect, being in our attitude, it's very important for everyone. If somebody is answering us, then Gandhiji tells that we should have to be more polite. Gandhiji is such an humble person. He never answered anybody in that angered manner or in a very bad or in a cruelly manner. He always tried to be calm, composed, and a kind of a person. So while answering in such a way to that African peoples, Vijayalakshmi Pandit thought that if Gandhiji would hear, he never allows me to talk in a such a way to the other peoples. If those peoples are like that, then we can't be like them. We should have to be more careful enough that how those people are, we can't be like them. We cannot be like them. If they are bad, let them be bad. We will also become good, and we will talk to them in a very polite manner. In 13th paragraph, before I going to bed that night, I resolved that come what might no words of mine would be lighten used in a UN. After finishing that session, when children she came to her room, or when she came to her place that where she used to stay. So before going to bed at that night, she thought that whatever happens today in that delegation or in that meeting, the words used by the both the sides from the African peoples also and from the Vijayalakshmi Pandit also. She was thinking about that. Is it right that how we have discussed about the problems, or is it a right way to discuss about the problem? We have not discussed anything, but we have just pointing out from the each other. From then on, I lifted the debate back to where it belonged, refusing to retaliate to personal attack or a score a cheap point. So she thought that tomorrow I'll go to the meeting or to delegation, and there I'll start, or I'll again restart the delegation and our debate from where it was stopped last day. So it is she tells that today we are not going to do anything like that. We will not attack personally. So seriously, we will discuss about our problems, that what problems we Indian peoples are facing in Africa, or what problems are faced by the African peoples by the Indians. Our opponents met us on the new level. and from then we argued the case on its merits. So finally those people were also understood that what Mrs. Vijayalakshmi wanted to tell, that what problems they faced in a last debate. So they understood from the Buddha. Vijay Lakshmi Pandit also understood the problem what faced, and the other delegation members were also understood what problems they faced. So next day they have not did anything like that. They just started the discussion on the merit of case, that what is needed here and what they have to do actually. So in 14th paragraph, before leaving the committee room on the last day, I went up and spoke to the leader of the opposing delegation. So this is a courtesy what Mr. Gandhi is talking about, that a humbleness, asking a way of a sorry, this is very most important, because always we know that who the person who tells a sorry, he is not bigger heart. The person who forgives somebody, he is having a bigger heart. So Vijay Lakshmi made her heart broader and went to the committee room member to meet him and telling about, to making a confession that what happened. She tells that before leaving the committee room on the last day, I went up and spoke to the leader of the opposing delegation. I have come to ask you to forgive me if I have hurt you by any word or action in this debate. A very humble woman, she tried to become over there, and she's tried to show some concern, and she's tried to show a guilt that which she had, which she thought before night. She told them that I have came to you to ask you to forgive me if I have hurt you by any word or action in this debate. She asked them a sorry, and she very politely told that I'm sorry, sir, just because of my some hard words or some harsh words. If I hurt you internally, so I'm extremely sorry for that. After 15 paragraph, he shook my hand warmly and said, I have no complaint. A person, the member of that committee also, he was also a very good and kind-hearted person. He directly said, I have no complaint. What you did, that was a part of a debate. In anger, if somebody attacks somebody personally, the people will get affected by it. So there is no fault of yours. It will happen, whatever has happened, it was just a happen in a situation. So forget about it, and I have no complaints against you. In 16th paragraph, it was good to feel right with him, but even better to feel right with myself once more. Gandhiji's advice have saved me from myself. So again, she thanked in her heart to Gandhiji that whatever the thoughts of Gandhiji when she had when she was in India before leaving for America, the conversation was helping her a lot of time in each and every situation. She felt that it was good to feel right with him. She said that if I wasn't came to meet him, if I wasn't came to ask him a sorry, then the problem in both the hearts will remain same. He will also think something bad about me, and I also came something bad about him. But I went there, I asked him a sorry, he forgave me. It feels better, and he too feel better that I went him and asked him a sorry, and he forgave him. But even better to feel right with myself. And it was a feeling that one pain, one kind of uncertainty which remains in our heart, that will be removed. Gandhiji advice had saved me from myself. She says that once again Gandhiji's advice saved her. Why she tells like that? It means, children, if we have committed a mistake or we try to hide that mistake, that will cause us from internally. If we have committed a mistake when somebody is watching us, when somebody is not watching us, but one thing we have to clear, keep one thing we have to clear in our mind, that if people are not looking us, then God is always watching us. The eyes of God are always on us. We can hide anything from anybody, but we can't hide anything from God's eyes. So that kind of a simple thought which was said by the Gandhiji, that no one can harm you except of yourself, that advised help her here also. When Gandhiji was not here, Gandhiji is there in India. Now she is in New York, but here also Gandhiji's words are helping her a lot. So she said that Gandhiji's advice had saved me from myself. In 17th paragraph, his words have helped me retain perspective even in small matters. Many women, I imagine, share with me a recurring nightmare. Some important to you is coming to dine. The guests have arrived. It's time to eat, but there is no dinner. You wake, perspiring, relieved to find it's only a dream. So sometimes what happens? So whatever the delegation was, members was over, meetings were also totally finished. But later she feels that his words have helped me retain perspective, even small matters also. She says that Gandhiji's words are helpful in every situation, either is a big problem or it's a small problem. So suddenly at one night, she thought that it was her dream. She thought that many women, I imagine, share with me a recurring nightmare. Nightmare means it's a horrible dream which no one wants to become a true. Nightmare means a kind of a horrible dream. It's a very dangerous dream which we seize while we are sleeping and we don't want it to be become true. So that kind of a dream was came into the Vijay Lakshmi, came into her mind of Vijay Lakshmi, and she tells that someone important to you is coming to die. The dream what she was looking at, some important to you is coming to dine. The guests have arrived. It is time to eat, but there is no dinner. So it was happening in her dream that she saw a dream, and in her dream some important peoples have came to Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Pandit's place to have a dine with her, to have a food with her. But unfortunately, when the guests were arrived, so at that time there was no dinner to be ready. No dinner to be ready. It means that the dinner was not ready then. You wake perspiring and relieved to find it's only a dream. So suddenly she woke up and she thought that it was just a dream. So when guests were around, we are not prepared. So what we do, we started doing hurry burry. We started running here and there. We started preparing something. So that kind of a situation was there in her dream. So suddenly when it was that she woke up, suddenly she woke up and realized that, oh my god, it was just a dream. I thank God that is not happening in a reality. But she don't know the what the consequences, what the repercussions are going to be happen next day with her. In 18th paragraph, but recently it really happened to me. So she tells that what she have saw in dream the night before, the day before, in a night that she was watching a dream. The dream came to her that some guests are about to come. When they came, the dinner was not ready. The people were sitting into the dine and they were just waiting for the food. But next day, it exactly same what she have saw in a dream. It happens to her. She tells that my guest of honor, the Prime Minister of Great Britain and the Lady Eden, could hardly have been more important to me, High Commissioner for India in the United Kingdom. I had planned everything meticulously from the menu to the color scheme of the flowers and the candles. When the guest had arrived and a drink had been passed twice, I signaled, but the butler to announce dinner, but still we waited. When for the third time drinks came round, I excused myself and went downstairs to the kitchen. So very good situation is here. How Vijay Lakshmi Pandit became little conscious. So next day when she has arranged a dinner for the some important guest. So the important guest for that tomorrow's the next day's dinner, we can say that my guest of honor, the guest of Vijayalakshmi Pandit, is the Prime Minister of Great Britain. Who is supposed to come there? The Prime Minister of Great Britain, Lady Eden, could hardly have been more important to the High Commissioner of India in United Kingdom. I planned everything meticulously. She planned everything as per plan. That how many guests will come, who will be the guest, what food have to be served, how the dining table should be ready, what food she have to prepare. With the color scheme from the flower and the candles, everything she has been perfectly made ready for the dinner. When the guest had arrived and the drinks had been passed, it's a tradition of a foreign people that usually not drink water. They used to drink like wine and all the things. So they drank twice, not once. They drank twice. So once you drink then later people used to like to have food, but that food was unable to come there. The food wasn't there. The food wasn't there to have. So once they drink, second time they also drank, then Vijay Lakshmi felt something has been problem created over here. So she signaled to the butler to announce the dinner. She said that please go and make the dinner ready. She signaled. She not said by words, but she just signaled. But still we waited for the third time. Drinks came around. I excused myself. So when she ordered for food, but the food wasn't came there, instead of food, another one time drinks only came over there. So when the drinks over came, so Vijay Lakshmi Pandit became little bit of tensed. What she became? She became little tensed and excused herself and ran downstairs to the kitchen. She suddenly got up from there. She excused. She ran to the downstairs to the kitchen to see what is the problem right over happening over there. Why they are not sending the food? Why they are sending again and again drinks itself? So in 19th paragraph we'll see it presented a shocking sight. When she went there, she was totally shocked. In one corner stood a frightened little kitchen maid. What she saw over there, in one corner stood a frightened, little bit of afraid little kitchen maid. In another, housekeeper. At the table sat my cook, weaving and lading and singing, beating time with his food. See what he's doing. Three members were there. Cook was also there. Kitchen maid was also there, and housekeeper were also there. These three fellows were standing into the each corner, and that main cook who supposed to be cook the food, he was just waving and ladle and singing, beating time with his food. Still, he slowly chopping the vegetables. His eyes were glazed and he was far away in some other sphere. It means that that chef who has to supposed to cook the food, he was not in his conscious mind. He was not conscious at all. By physically he was present there. His eyes were looking little darker. His body was shaking up. He was singing something. He it means that he is not prepared or he was not ready to cook any kind of a food. Later she tells that his eyes were glazed and he was far away from some other sphere. The table was littered with the pieces of chicken. In that table already littered the pieces of chicken. The chicken was also not been properly ready. So she felt that my knees felt too weak to support me. She tell that when she saw a sudden situation that guests are waiting over there, three times they had a drink and now they are waiting for a food, but the food is not ready here because that cook himself drank a lot of wine maybe, so that's why he was unable to cook any kind of food. When she saw that this kind of a situation is there in that kitchen, so her knees were started shivering. She was unable to stand herself. She's unable to make herself stronger. So she feels that my knees felt too weak to support me. But I asked in a normal voice, as I could command, why isn't the dinner ready? She said that, like, commanding like ordering somebody in a very strict manner. But when the guests were outside, we cannot order it in a loud manner. So she made her voice little bit slower and ordered, why isn't the dinner ready? What you guys are doing here? You should be prepared the dinner before the time. The guests are there. They are waiting for the dinner right there over. And what you guys are doing here? So somebody replies, will see in paragraph, but it is ready, madam. My cook chanter, all ready. Everybody sit down, sit down. So she said that when she's told and when she went to see the people and another woman who was there in that kitchen, he said that my cook chanted and basically he said loudly, that cook said loudly, but ready ma'am, it's ready, all ready. Everybody sit down, sit down. She said that as she heard from the cook that food is ready and she said yes, okay, it's everything is fine, then now food will come, everything is ready, everybody sit down, sit down. If I was ferocious, it was on the tip of my tongue to say get out, you are dismissed. So she became that angry by looking the behavior of that cook and that maid and that another one housekeeper, that how irresponsibly these people are treating. The only one word which was came in her mind, that you are dismissed. What she said in a very angry manner, she said that you are dismissed. When I thought of the counsel that had calmed me so many times, if I lost control I would only hurt myself. Then another at that time she felt the words of Gandhiji. Her the Gandhiji's words again came in her mind, that she thought that if I lost my control I would only hurt myself. What she said, I would only hurt myself. Nothing will happen except of harming myself. The beautiful advice what the Mahatma Gandhiji given to Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Pandit is that no one can harm you except of yourself. If we are in anger, then also we times raises our temper. We have to make ourselves cool. We have to make ourselves calm. If we will not do such a things, then definitely our temper will high and we are going to be harm ourselves only. So what she will say in second paragraph feels here, I pulled myself together, let's get something on the table. I said okay, it is prepared now, please bring it here faster, let us have something on the table, I said. 23rd paragraph, everyone pitched in to the food served wasn't quite what the menu described. So when she has described already that this is what you're going to have today in my dine, when that food was served, that wasn't quite what the menu described. So it means that they know that the what the all peoples are going to have, but when the food came to their table, when the food came in their front, unfortunately that wasn't the same dish or that wasn't the same menu which were described. But when I told my guest what happened, there was a chorus of surprise. The all peoples answered in a same manner, and all people so started in same way, that is called as a chorus, a background music, what we can say, that the voice coming together, it's called as a chorus. This is that it was in a chorus. If this is what your cook gives you when he's drunk, someone exclaim. So somebody says that if what food which is here available now, if this kind of food, if your cook gives when he drinks, someone exclaim, what must he provide sober? What we can expect from him, that when he will not drink, what something else he will prepare. In 23rd paragraph, the relief in my laughter must have sounded a little hysterical. So it means that that was a very different kind of way of the people. When the food was become totally ready and served onto the dining table where they were sitting to have the food, so one kind of a surprising moment was happened for the Vijayalakshmi Pandit, that because she has described a different menu and but that cook was prepared something else. So those peoples in a praising manner, it's a praising manner, they said that if your cook is drunk and he can prepare this much a kind of a good food, then how much good he will prepare when he will not in a mood of hangover. So he said that my perspective was restored. I realized that dinner party, however, important is not the point of existence. He said that whatever the circumstances will happen, whatever the incidents will happen, let it be happen. But what motive she called to the guests were at the end they were happy. In the 25th of paragraph, no retain a sense of proportion is as important as being able to keep one's heart free from the hater. So she strongly believed that we can't achieve anything, we can't be happy by making somebody very painful, very sad, very disappointed. If the people are happy with our attitude, if the people are happy by our work, if they become happy, then kind of a happiness we will also feel in our heart. For all of us, no matter what our work, the advice Gandhiji gave me is meaningful. No one can harm you except of yourself, or no one can harm you but yourself. So this is the conclusion of our today's lesson. So in these two videos we have completed a chapter. So I hope you understood. In next video we will discuss about the glossary and the remaining exercises related to this chapter. Thank you one and all. I hope you understood.